Hello, and welcome to the We Get to Do This podcast. My name is Kaylee.
And I'm Jacob.
And we are your co-hosts.
In this show, we're going to dive into all things our lives, from our partnership to romance to entrepreneurship to growing our businesses together, our fitness journeys, and we're going to have a ton of different guests on that relate to what I just said in some way. We're hoping you enjoy the show, and if you do,
please feel free to follow us, leave us a 5-star review on wherever you listen to your podcasts, and enjoy.
And if you don't like the show, tough. Thank you.
Thanks. Episode 29. Take 4.
Welcome back, everyone. I'm glad you're here to hear Kaylee and I's love story today, because it's Valentine's Day.
No,
And
it wasn't Valentine's Day.
it was Valentine's Day. And we love love.
We love love, and this is the week of love, even though this will be actually aired the week after Love Week. But you know, in my opinion, it's never not a good time to show your loved ones that you love them and to tell them how much they mean to you. So an honor.
I'm actually not a huge Valentine's Day fan, but I do like talking about Kaylee and I's love story, so I'm here for it.
Okay, we've talked about this. Not that I'm into Valentine's Day. Yeah, I just think that you like to celebrate things, and it's okay to celebrate love.
And I got this new mug.
In honor of Valentine's Day.
Valentine's Day.
Because Jacob is a big gift receiver guy. We should talk about the love languages sometime too. But that's kind of on par with today and getting to know your partner and how important that is. But we'll go over that at some point. But we haven't talked about really our relationship very much on here. I mean, you guys hear us interacting every week in a very casual, conversational manner, but we talked about our business stories, kind of our personal stories, but not really about how we met and came to be, and how now we're recording this awesome #1 podcast. We get to do this together.
The #1 podcast for relationships, business, and fitness. But, I think our kind of idea for today is to tell our audience how we met and started dating.
Yeah.
And then we'll probably have a bunch of spin-off episodes, like the love languages and solving conflict, different things like that on the relationship side as well, because we advertise that in the intro every week, and we haven't done it yet. So,
yeah.
Right? Is that the idea?
Yeah. And who doesn't want to hear a love story? Maybe you don't want to hear ours, but you get to listen to it today.
Let's do this.
You get to listen.
You get to listen to this.
And you get to enjoy it. So, here we go. Now you get to listen to Jacob for the next 20 minutes.
Yeah, so it was a dark, stormy night. There were a lot of clouds in the area. It was raining. And I was at a crosswalk, and the rain was just coming down. And how do you actually want to tell this, though?
Well, also, we didn't meet, but you first saw me almost exactly 2 years ago to the date, almost.
I feel like on the last 2 podcasts, I kind of just blabbed the entire time. So I think you should tell our story. How did we meet? As if someone asked you that, and I will interject where I feel appropriate.
If I'm incorrectly recounting our love story.
Yeah.
Okay. So almost exactly 2 years ago, except you don't like when I tell this part.
No, you can tell it. Yeah, tell people I looked at your butt. It's fine.
All right.
I'm a human. Like that's not that weird.
So almost exactly 2 years ago, we were at Performance Running Gym in St. Louis Park. Shout out PRG for bringing us together. We actually had run a few different races at the same time, like Wild Duluth, but we were in very different spots in our lives at those times. And so it was a very lonely Friday night. It was the week of Valentine's Day. And I had just been broken up with for a short-term relationship, but
Ew.
he sucks. And the last thing that I wanted to do was go to this gym that I'd never been to, but I'd heard good things about, and go be social. And none of my friends could come with me that night that I had asked, but there was something called the Uphill Challenge going on. And there were prizes and giveaways, and we all know that I love my prizes and giveaways and stepping out of my comfort zone. And I was still, after kind of, I hadn't been in a long-term relationship in the last like couple of years. So those kind of couple of years were a lot of like self-discovery and just doing a lot of things out of my comfort zone and exploring new things and just very much putting myself out there, and still in the process of like finding my community and finding my place in the Twin Cities. And so long story short, I really didn't want to leave my couch on this Friday night because I was a little sad. But I was like, this is the time, like there's times for rest, but this is the time when I should go and do something, because you never know what can come out of it. And again, I was in my exploration era. And so I went, and I remember like pulling into the parking lot. It was dark. I looked in the windows and saw all these like crazy runners on the treads, and was like, am I seriously gonna go run so this uphill challenge? It's 15 minutes of running or walking at a 15% incline on the treadmill, which is about as high as treadmills will go. And I just remember sitting there and being like, am I seriously going to do this at 7 p.m. on a Friday night? Like, I don't have to be doing this. Like, I'm choosing to go do this in front of all these people that I've never met. I don't know any of them. And it was all these guys on the treads. And I think there was one other female maybe that did it that night.
And you were the only one.
Maybe
I think you were the only one.
I blacked out a lot of it because I'm very much an introvert, but I like doing extroverted things. Does that make sense? Like, I like putting myself out there, but anyways. So I remember I talked to Isa Boyke, who I didn't know was an owner of PRG at the time, but she's one of the co-owners, and Amy Clark, and was talking to them, and because they were some of the only two females there, they cheered for me the whole time. And little did I know that Jacob was in the background and was watching while we both remember the specific tread that I was on, like in the corner. I was trying to just, stay out of the way and do my thing. And the first thing that you noticed about me was my butt as I was running on this tread. And do you have anything to say about that?
No, I don't.
So, anyways, you did that. And then this actually kind of goes into then how I ended up getting a job too. And
What?
no, my butt did me a boyfriend and a job. Score. No, I was talking to Isa and Amy. Amy gave me a tour of PRG, showed me this massage room, and I'd sort of been considering starting my own business at the time. And anyway, she introduced me to then Erin Boyke, who is the other co-owner of PRG. And then I just asked if they had any acupuncturists and explained my background, and then ended up scheduling a meeting with Erin within the next few weeks, and which is then where Jacob comes in. Shout out Jacob. So I remember I walked into the office at PRG to meet with Erin and discuss some things. And Jacob was sitting at the desk in the office.
No, I was on the couch.
No, you were at the chair.
I was like laying on the
I
couch.
think Ashton was on the couch. You were in the chair at the desk, slouched back in your sweatpants as I walked in.
Yeah.
And Erin was like, hey guys, like, this is Kaylee. She's going to be our acupuncturist here. And Jacob goes, wow, this place is really popping up.
Sure.
Jacob's 25 at the time.
I was 24. Pretty sure.
Oh yeah, he would have been 24. Jacob's 24 at the time, and just had to share that Peerage was popping off because they were getting an acupuncturist.
I was being my very authentic self.
Very, yeah.
I mean, I didn't know that Kaylee was walking in. Aaron didn't give me any heads up. Thanks, Aaron. At all. And she was also 28 at the time.
Yeah.
But I think I thought you were 30.
Because I looked so old and mature.
Sure. And then, so I didn't think much of it, really. I was like, yeah, she's very much out of my league in a doctor in 30. So I'm not going to, so I'm like, I don't care what she thinks of me. That was my thought process at the time, really. I was like, well, I don't have a chance with her. So seriously, that's what I thought.
Well, that didn't stop you from then sliding into my DMs with.
Well, I didn't mean I wasn't going to try. And that I had a client, his name was Paul. I won't say his last name because, how Paul is. But he said, I think I mentioned you to him, and he was like, why have you not messaged her yet? Or no, he said, yeah, something along those lines with Instagram. Why haven't you messaged her? And then he convinced me to message you on Instagram. And I was like, yeah, why not? I don't have anything to lose. It wasn't in a weird way. It was you were going to work there too. It was very much don't shit where you eat situation too. And I wanted to make sure that, because we talked for a month before we actually went on a date. Because
yeah,
both of us were very
still at Peerage.
We don't want to muddy waters here at all because I'm a trainer and she works there, and I don't want to make things weird or inappropriate or anything like that. So.
And then it was funny because from my perspective, I was like, okay, here's clearly this head trainer at PRG. Clearly.
You mean that?
You were the head honcho there. I mean, you were an employee, but.
Wow, way to boost my ego.
You're welcome.
Thanks.
Doesn't take much.
Yeah.
Big words of affirmation.
Big words of affirmation, yeah.
But originally you did just start talking to me about when I was going to start working there, and you did keep it very casual and focused on work. And we were just, what?
I was just saying, yeah, I feel like I usually do that with most providers that are there. When people are doing acu, massage, physical therapy, whatever, because I'm I need to know the people here if I'm going to send clients to them.
Yeah. So you were just feeling me out in a professional way. But yeah, so we started messaging on Instagram. That's how you slid into the DMs. And then at one point you said that you're not on Instagram very much.
No, this was after. No, okay. So after she came into the office that one day and we met, that was around that time is when I slid into your or followed you on Instagram or something and said nice meeting you today, whatever. And then I didn't talk to you for a week or two. Then I messaged you back after it had been a few weeks. And I was like, hey, when are you starting at PRG? And then you were like, I'm starting in May, blah, blah, blah. I'm giving all the trainers, first session free. And I was like, sweet, sign me up. That is how that happened. And I was still very much, again, just feeling the waters and stuff and whatnot. So then I went to the acupuncture appointment. And then because at this point, I'm like, okay, she probably thinks I don't want to be so in the personal training industry, it's very common for specifically males. I shouldn't say gender types, but a lot of times trainers can come across as creepy, for lack of better, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
Either they're hitting on clients or leaving, or you guys, everyone understands what I'm saying. That is very one of the things someone once told me was never commingle as a trainer because it's just not professional and good for trainers to do, and you can end up with a lot of issues. Anyway, so I was being very careful because I did not want Kaylee to think that I was a creep. And so then I went to the acupuncture appointment with her, and you checked my heart rate, and you were super nervous, and the way you touched me, I was like, yeah, she's into me. I could tell. Seriously, I swear that was my like you just seemed it wasn't like a flirtatious thing. It was almost like a flirtatious thing in a way. I don't know. You just seemed nervous to touch my wrist. And then when we actually did the treatment, she left a needle in me too because she was a little nervous. Seriously, those things. And then I was like, okay, maybe she actually is a little into me. But it was still like we had only been talking briefly for a couple weeks.
Yeah, because this is mid-May, and you were my first patient that I had for my own business.
Yeah. And so I was still very much like, I do not want to send the wrong idea and be wrong and have this be awkward if we're both going to work here, etc. Blah, blah. So then what I did was we were DMing on Instagram and you asked for like a review or something or asked for, I don't know, we were still talking. And then I said, hey, I'm not actually on Instagram that much. You should text me. Here's my number if you need anything. And then you texted me. So that was in my defense, the reason I did that was because, yeah, obviously I'm on Instagram a decent amount, but I wanted to see if you would text me. Because in my eyes, I was like, if she texts me and opens that door, then it's like, okay, so she's a little interested. Had you not texted me, or at least the way you texted me, if it was very professional, then I would have left it alone. That was why I did that.
Yeah. Didn't I wait like 24 hours and then you thought?
Exactly. That was what I was like trying to find out and see. I was like, is she?
Yeah.
I feel as though it was a very mature and professional thing to do.
I agree.
So.
And it's funny because you were one of my biggest supporters of opening the business at the time and now continue to be one of my biggest supporters. But I remember talking to people and being like, yeah, there's this trainer there that seems to be excited for me to be there. And I feel like you were one of my like pushes to start it in like a very good way. Just to be like, okay, somebody actually cares that I'm doing this, because me being a perfectionist, I wanted everything to be perfect before I started there. And it just got to the point like it's not going to be perfect by the time I start. But I knew that I had you on my side and it's kind of somebody from the inside to be there for me. And I mean, obviously that was very attractive, but I thought I had no chance with you because I was like, it's this hot shot at the gym.
In sweatpants.
So I was very attracted to you, and clearly everyone in the PRG community very much respected you and knew you. And I just knew you had a lot of say and a lot of pull at the gym. So for me, I mean, it was a good play on my part too, to like be talking to you like from a business standpoint, but also not thinking that like a relationship would ever come out of it, because I had been burned quite a few times in the past year and a half and was still very much wanting a relationship in love, but also definitely had my guard up because I didn't want to be essentially hurt again. And yeah, so gave you the treatment, and then a couple weeks later, and then we just continued talking or texting.
Yeah. And then you were asking about like my family, and we started talking about things that were not.
Yeah.
It was very much like getting to know each other kind of questions. And then that was like, yeah, okay. Either I'm really reading this situation wrong, or he is leading me on. One of the two. Something is, yeah. You don't talk with like just anyone like that, I thought. So.
And then, so Jacob was still leading group runs out of PRG at the time on Wednesdays. And I was doing a like video marketing thing with Aaron in the gym before that. And I remember you hung around the whole time in the background, basically. And
I had clients. I was working. I wasn't just like, you make it sound like I'm a creep.
You're not a creep. But no, because I got to see you that whole time. And then I stayed for your group run. And then our friend Becky came for the group run too. And then.
And my friend Kyle came to vet you.
Yeah. So you had your best friend come. And then I had Becky come. And we went on this group run. It was fun. And then we went to, what's the brewery called?
Steel Toe, which I hadn't gone to that brewery in like a year. I literally only went because you were going there. Still late.
Wait, why? Because you were going, I thought that was just what you did. And again, I was like trying to find community, and the runners, like your running group would always go to the brewery after, but you would just leave.
Yeah, go home usually.
But Becky and I went over there and hung out, and then we were like some of the last ones there. And then we went back to the gym, and you gave Becky, or I was going to give Becky a tour of PRG, and you hung around with us. So it was then just the three of us. And when did you do my shins?
Well,
That-
yeah, when we got back my group around that time.
So the other thing that was very attractive at the beginning was you were very like assertive is like an aggressive word, but like you were very like I feel like it was like you came across as like very masculine in a good way. And I was talking about my shins first. They must have been acting up. And you're just like, come over here. Like I have an exercise for you. And you just like directed me into the gym, like again, in a very like nice, but like coachy trainer way, and helped me with my shins. And I thought that was hot. And then we were just talking to Becky for a while, and then Becky kind of started to get the hint, and then she left. And then at this point, we're like standing outside of the gym, and we were just chatting. And you already knew that I was going to the UK with my family for 2 weeks that coming week. And you asked if my schedule, what'd you say?
Wow, you don't remember this? You used to make fun of me so much.
I'm thinking bonkers. What did you say? Oh yeah, popping off. Okay, it was bonkers.
Yeah.
You're like, so like, do you say like, so I'm guessing, or I'm guessing your schedule's pretty bonkers in the next week or two here, but if you'd be up for it, I would would love to go out for like coffee or a hike or a run with you before you leave. And then what did I say?
Then you're like, it is bonkers. And I was like, oh, sad. She's going to turn me down after all this.
He said, yeah, it's pretty. Did I say bonkers?
Yeah, you're like, yeah, it is pretty crazy. And then there was like this pause because, like, again, I thought you were going to turn me down. I think my facial expression kind of changed a little bit. And you were like, but it's all about priorities. And I would love to, or something like that. And the rest is history.
And now we're in love.
And now we're in love.
Yeah, no, just that. Not that there's anything wrong with meeting online and everything, but like it was just very attractive that you like took the initiative to ask me out in person. And because we had been texting at that time too, so you could have easily even asked me out on the phone, but it was just, I believe in like putting yourself into situations that will attract people that you want to be with. And that's kind of what I had been hoping for, manifesting, going for the last couple of years. And it was all kind of just like right place at the right time. And after you asked me that, I was super excited. I immediately called Becky because she was like, let me know like how things go. I think she had texted me, like, call me once you leave. And I was just like super stoked that this hot trainer at the gym had asked me out. And 2 days later, then we went out for coffee. No.
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 Wow. Wow.
Just again. No. Okay, we went.
You're adorable.
We did have coffee. I'm getting it all mixed up because a lot happened in the span of a week before I left for the UK.
We went to that
We went,
Mexican restaurant.
yeah, because I was living in Northeast at the time. So we went to that Pajarito, a Mexican restaurant down by like St. Anthony, Maine area.
Where we going? It was cold.
And I showed up first because I'm always early at everything.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
Actually, we're both on time though.
yeah, we're both actually a little early, which I'm never early really to anything, as I've mentioned on here before. But I had walked down because it was like a mile from my place at the time, and had a really good time. I ordered a margarita, which I normally don't do, but it was like a hot,
Which, knowing you now, is shocking.
yeah.
That you ordered a drink. Really is. I wasn't planning on drinking at all because I had a race the next day, and I said I'm good, and you said if you don't drink, I'm leaving. So
It's not.
I had to order a margarita, and then we just sat and talked for like 2 hours. It felt bad for our waitress, but she loved love, I think, too. So she was taking it.
Yeah. And with like the drink, I think we talked about this in the drinking episode too. Like it wasn't even nerves about I was like, I really need a drink. It was just there's times I'm just like, yeah, I would really enjoy a drink right now. And that was just
Yeah.
you're by the river. I was with this hot guy that I had walked from my apartment. It was very much of a like, wow, this is like very cool that I just get to do this. And I'm just making all my own decisions here and just kind of like taking a chance. And I'm very open to love. So I ordered this margarita on this beautiful summer night. It's like the first week of June. It's June 1st. And yeah, we talked for a really long time and we left. I walked home. You were going to your race and I felt super excited and just like very content with how things were. And I was like, yeah,
and then
definitely potential here.
you were like, I'd love to do this again. And no one had never told me that before. So it's exciting.
And yeah, so then a couple days later, then sorry if you don't like details, you don't need to listen to this, but I'm somebody who likes to hear all of these details, so we're just recapping it. And someday it's gonna be fun to listen to this recap for us.
I'm sure someone will like listening to this.
Yeah.
And if people don't, like, whatever, we just haven't told our stories. I think it's necessary.
Right.
I think you're
That's very much who we are.
You're doing awesome.
Thanks, babe. So then 2 days later, Jacob has his race, and then we meet up for ice cream because we find out that we both like ice cream. And then there's a whole bit that lasted all summer about cherry ice cream.
Oh, that's right. I forgot about that. That's right.
That was like a big part, really.
It was. You named a playlist after that for me.
The whole playlist called cherry ice cream because we met Sebastian Joe's off of Lake Nokomis. And we ordered ice cream. And was it there that I mentioned cherry ice cream? Or like we started talking about it?
Somehow it came up how you liked cherry ice cream. And I said that's absurd because only people that are like 60 plus like cherry ice cream. If that, 70 plus probably. And it was just more of like you were shocked because I didn't like cherry ice cream. And I said, I tell you I don't like cherry ice cream. It's that no one ever picks cherry ice cream as their first choice. Ever. And then I got ice cream, but my man's filled the thing so high that it just exploded everywhere. It was great because I could make a mess, and it was fine because it was everywhere. And I was like, I can't even keep it.
Of ice.
My hands were full by the time we sat down.
His full. His hands were full. His face was full.
Which is funny.
God,
I definitely make a mess with things, and now you know. But yeah, and then I also on that we went and walked for like 7 miles, something like that.
Yeah, we went and rocked around a couple of the lakes.
And I talked about a lot of cool things. And one of the things was Keely said she wanted kids immediately. And it was our second date, so I'm like, okay, well.
Context to that without going into it, but I don't even know why. I think I probably brought this.
We were talking about what our biggest fears were. And it was warranted. I was kidding. And then we also talked about like favorite artists. And that was when I realized Keely was a Swiftie, which the first date I had bashed Taylor Swift. Ever so slightly.
How much I liked him because I gave him a second chance.
All I said was that I don't get the hype around Taylor. That's all I said. And you didn't really explain it. The next time we went out, you're like, I'm a Swiftie. Take it back. And then you said, I hate the 1975. And I said, first of all,
I did not say that.
I said, first of all, I never said I hated Taylor Swift. Second of all, the 1975 I'm not like a diehard 1975 fan. Third of all, you're entitled to your own opinions.
We were talking about our favorite songs, and then I found out that it's not Living Inside of You was your favorite song, but you have a tattoo of it. So then when I heard you hated Taylor, that's when I had to like fight back a little bit. Yeah. So that's why I had to say something about 1975, but that was really cute because I said my favorite song was All Too Well, the 12-minute version, or 10-minute version by Taylor.
Mhm.
And
I listened to it. Never again.
we were like on the way home, we had to listen. So Jacob had to listen to All Too Well, and then I listened to It's Not Living If It's Not With You. And again, it was just love story, picturesque, because it was, again, it's like beautiful, warm Minnesota night. And I remember driving home, like past the lakes and stuff. And that was our first kiss, too.
Mhm.
So we had our first kiss on our second date, which I also never do that. But again, it was very, so we got to our cars and you basically just like pulled me in and we were under the street lamps, had a warm summer breeze coming through. I love love.
I know.
And we kissed and it was very hot. And then you left and I drove home and got to listen to your song. And I knew that you were listening to All Too Well. So I knew that you were just in a car of just this like melodious, beautiful music. And just made me smile knowing that you were listening to Taylor. And because we had talked about how we both really like music too. We were connecting on that. And I think before I left, because we had talked about our families and kind of you have a larger immediate family. And I remember I went into my notes after and I like wrote like Mom, Danette, Dad, Mark, brother, and I like wrote down your name, like their names in my phone, your contacts. I like didn't want to forget because family is big and I know names are big and I like again I would have done this with most people. I was like, I need to remember these things. Like these are deep important details. I think they're still in my phone actually.
Well, it's funny too. It just goes to show you like how the way we are raised and stuff is different too. Because like had you not remembered my family's names, I wouldn't have. Yeah. Not that I'm not close to my family, but I just wouldn't have thought twice about it. Whereas I feel as though if I hadn't remembered your parents' name, that would have maybe been a little bit.
I don't think it was even that. It was just more of like I knew I was into you and wanted. That was just like a respected thing that I just wanted to remember. Like.
Yeah, well, I will say it took me a while to remember how to spell Janae's name. And don't ask me how to do it right now. Anyways, so our third date, which I feel like is, after this, it's kind of like the rest is history, probably.
Kind of. We had a big 2 months.
Well, yeah.
Because we were gone for half that time.
Yeah.
But
I feel that this will be a good future podcast quiz question. And our third date was when technically it was your birthday. We went and got coffee. So, okay, this is maybe then the fourth. No, we're going to say third.
So the third. Well,
the swing dancing is what I'm talking about.
Yeah, and I want to talk about the coffee too, because you had texted me the night before and you asked for my coffee order because I had found out that you really like coffee too. And you asked for my coffee order because you said you were going to bring me, because I was going to be at PRG that day on my birthday. And you're going to bring me coffee. But then I showed up and you didn't have coffee. And I was like, oh, sad. And then you're like, you said something like, I have a different plan. Like, do you want to go get coffee together? And then we went, and then instead you drove the two of us over to Honey and Rye to the bakery there. And then we got coffee. And then we went to, you were dog sitting at the time. So we went to your dog sitting house. We got to spend like an hour that morning together, just chatting and driving. And then that night is when we got to go swing dancing. Mm-hmm. You can tell.
So I get invited to go swing dancing, and it starts at 9 p.m.
I need to clarify, I've never swing danced in my life.
That was a little bit of a red flag. Not because I'm against swing dancing, but just more of like,
she's a swing dancer.
I don't know. That maybe sounds bad saying that out loud now that I'm realizing that, but it was a little bit of like a, Anyways, so not something I was into. So, but I was like, I'm going to be open-minded. I'm going to go to this. It's at 9 p.m. and I have to work at 6 the next day, but it's fine. So I go to the swing dancing thing and we get there and I find out, well, first of all, Kaylee was late by like 20 minutes. So I'm just hanging out with Kaylee's friends.
Because to clarify, on my birthday, I like to fit everything in. I'm getting better at this
You
now.
do this all the time.
But I'm getting better is what I just said. But there was a group run over at the TCM building in St. Paul that I was going to with, and
Wait, where did you shower? Did you shower?
I didn't. Remember, I showed up all sweaty and I was super embarrassed. I wore a new pair of Vuori shorts because I thought they were really cute. And instead, I had like this big sweat patch at the bottom of my little back. And I was like, great, now I'm late and I'm going to show up sweaty to this swing dance for this guy that, not that I was trying to impress, well, I guess I was trying to impress you, but like I wanted to like look cute and normal. And so I remember I was like changing in my car, but there was not really a good place to change. So it was a lot. And yeah, I was late because I was at this group run and you were hanging out with my friends outside the building, all the friends that I had asked this swing dance because it was my birthday. So we had another running friend, Chris, who would go and he had been inviting us. So I was like, yeah, it's my birthday. This is a great, fun free group event to do for my birthday. So yeah, I walked up and you were just chatting to people that you had never met before. And then we all went to swing dance. And we started out, like they put you all in lines. So we started out across from each other, thinking we were going to be partners for this. But we were towards the end of the line. And immediately once they like start explaining things, the music starts. And the guy has to go, you had to like go to the left. And it was like the second time you had to go across the dance, like the auditorium, to the very back of the line. Like we were as opposite on the room as you could possibly be. And it's that way for the next like hour and a half.
Literally didn't dance with her. Literally did not dance with Kaylee. Just danced with a bunch of other random people.
For a very long time.
And I was like, what is happening right now?
So bad. And I was like, Kaylee, it's okay.
Luckily, it wasn't a first date.
I was like, you still need to, like, it's okay to enjoy this. Like, it's still your birthday. And I got to be with all my girlfriends there. But just alone. I kept like glancing at you because I could see you because you were one of the tallest people in the room. Just kept trying to make eye contact because I felt so bad that I made you come to this and then you were by yourself. But it's not true that we never danced together because then at the end, we got to dance together. So just then it was like free style at the end. And then we danced to Coldplay and they put the lights down and they danced to Coldplay. And do you remember this?
Mm-hmm.
And then we got to like touch a little bit and dance. And I was like, wow, I don't think it gets much better than this. And I thought it was really romantic that we were dancing after. And there was so much suspense built up for the last hour and a half.
Yeah.
That then when we finally got to dance together, it was hot. And then after we were done dancing, then we all left. And then you came out and then we stood by my car for the next hour talking. And
until like 2 that night, 1.
We had a lot of late nights talking for the first like month. And now knowing Jacob, it was like 6 hours past his bed every time that we would hang out.
Mm-hmm.
So you got no sleep you were literally love drunk for the first month because you were running off of 0 sleep. And yes, we just stayed out again talking under the moonlight, the street lamps. It was very romantic. And yeah, and then our next time we saw each other was the night that I was leaving at 4 a.m. for the UK with my family for 2 weeks. And you were over until like 2 a.m. And finally I was like, I think you said like, you need to get some sleep. So I got about 1 hour of sleep that night because I had to be up by 4 a.m. to get to the flight. And I was basically up for like 48 hours straight because then we had the flight and then we got into the UK at 7 a.m. And I remember my sister telling us that we all needed to rally because we were going to the Borough Market. And then I didn't see you for a couple of weeks.
Yep. And then I left for like a month. No, you came back. We had like a week to hang out, and then I left for a month to Colorado.
And
you came to Colorado.
when I really knew you were the one was when we split a dozen Taylor Swift donuts.
Yeah, and I don't hate Taylor.
Because the day that I got home was the Taylor Swift concert. So we saw each other that night, and again, basically stayed up that whole night, and then went to Taylor Swift the next day. And I was super delirious because of travel, being together. We got Taylor Swift donuts. It was awesome. We went for our first run together that day, and basically spent the next 2 weeks nonstop hanging out whenever we weren't working.
It was great.
It was really great. And even when I was gone in the UK, we were FaceTiming and talking, and you had said that you had never talked on the phone with anybody before, and it was weird. Like the first, I think I must have called you, right? Big guy.
Yeah, I thought we were just gonna text. Jen Z are here. I thought we would just be texting, and she was like, I'm gonna call you," and I was like, "What?" So
Yeah, so we got to talk. While I was over there, we talked a lot, and that's what my parents knew, that something was going on. And then you left me for a month for Colorado, and I went out for the last week with you. So we've been dating not even 2 months at this time. And then we went camping together out there. And that's when I said that I loved you.
yeah.
Because you were never going to say it, so I had to. Just kidding. But I did say it first.
Kaylee said it first.
Which was
Just
not
first. But so that's the first 3 months of our relationship. We had about 21 to go. So then it was August.
And
I think she nailed it.
yeah, those first couple months were,
That's how we met. That's how we fell in love.
it was an actual summer love story, like looking back now.
Well, we stayed together.
We stayed together and are quite happy. So, moral of the story, it's okay to get out of your comfort zone and to do things even when you don't want to, within reason, people. I'm not saying always go out of your comfort zone, but I just am very grateful that I chose on that cold, dark Friday night in February to take a chance, because I got a job. I started my business out of it, and I found my life partner.
Me.
So I think just
Wait now.
just be open to life, basically. And if you've been hurt before or haven't found love yet, like, be open to it and don't settle, because I think everyone had told me, like, you'll know when you know. And I feel like we could have a whole podcast episode just on this, but yeah, I'm grateful that I waited and that I found you and that the universe brought us together.
Love you.
I love you.
What is? I'm gonna get to these ones. That was good. That was a good 40-minute love story.
Thanks for listening.
Yeah, that should be a movie. The Notebook.
You basically are the Notebook.
We're awesome.
Like Nicholas Sparks here.
We're awesome.
Yeah, thanks for listening to our love story. If you have questions, comments,
Concerns.
concerns about how we met, if you want more details and want a part 2 where we just really go into details, just kidding. That was pretty much all the details we're gonna get on those first couple months. But we do want to share more of the last couple years now, because
those are all the highlights, and we definitely mainly are highlights, but
hear the this and the low points. Wow, that could take up 10 episodes.
no, my point was though is that like that was very much like social media, you know.
Yeah,
it's just the highlight reel. And
but those first couple months were all pretty much highlights.
I mean, we got into a fight in Colorado.
Did we?
A little bit. I think so. Yeah, with like after Hope Pass.
I don't remember that.
For the most part, what we do are it's not even like fights, like arguments for little things.
Agreements.
Like we're pretty good at settling conflict.
Yeah, but we do want to talk about that stuff at some point. Just not today because we're already at 45 minutes. But yeah, that's our love story. Jacob, what's your we get to do this moment of the week?
Well, to follow suit of our love story, I got to spend all weekend with Bay. That's why we get to do this moment. Because when I get to hang out with Bay, I'm very happy.
Yeah, you are. We
Yeah.
both of us happy. My we get to do this moment is it's a good week, but I have 2 more weeks until sorry on March 1st I will be fully self-employed in my business. And so wild thought, but kind of wrapping it up that, 2 years ago is when I even first started thinking about having my own business and had nothing, no website, no idea what finances, no idea about anything with starting a business. And I still feel like I'm drowning sometimes, but to think about how much I've learned in the last couple of years and that now I'm completely diving into this full time in 2 weeks is pretty wild, and very grateful that I don't know where I'd be if I didn't have you and if we hadn't met. So
Go ahead further.
no. I don't know where I'd be because I'd probably be, a multimillionaire at this point.
I'm just kidding.
No,
Great for
what
you.
I'm saying is that I'm really glad that I've had you as my cheerleader. And I'm really proud of us. So
Love you.
love you. That's we get to do this episode 29. Thank you for listening to that very elongated love story that could have been a movie. So
It might be. It still might be.
we'll start working on that. Some movie producers. Anyways, thanks for listening, and we will see you all next week. Bye.
Wow, Kaylee, we made it through another episode. What do you think?
We would love if you would go give us a follow, a 5-star review, and comment on the episode and what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
See you next time.
We get to do this.